The Forge Radio Show with Demetrius L. Brown and Michelle Lenore.
Hey guys, good evening. Thank you for joining me, the Michelle Lenore Initiative. I'm super excited to have you guys here. I have a special guest here today to talk about how she is winning in government contracts. So just a little bit about what I do. I help small businesses, minority-owned businesses, female-owned businesses really get out of debt by leveraging the government certifications and the LinkedIn platform. So we are not going to waste any time. I'm going to pop up my folks really quickly. I got Kamara who is answering questions for us. Just pop your face in there. So yeah, most definitely put those questions on in there. If you have any questions that you want to ask. But our guest today is Dannesia Pullen, and she has been killing the game, guys, when it comes to these government contracts. And so, Dannesia, just tell us a little bit about you and your business and what you've been able to accomplish.
So I do own two businesses, actually. My asset business is Pullen Hauling, and my husband and I own that business. And I also own Pullen Logistics, which is a freight brokerage and motor carrier consulting firm.
Cool. So, of course, I brought Dannesia in because she called me. She was like, Michelle, guess what? I just won a $535,000 contract. So explain to us just a couple of steps that led you up to that contract. What did you need to really catch I want to say the client's attention?
I would say, number one, you need a Michelle. Definitely. So I've been certified for about 4 years and I had not won any contracts. I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to network with the primes. I just didn't have the tools and resources that I needed to scale my business. So when I got with Michelle, she talked about, she talked about having a capability statement and kind of putting yourself out there in front of the primes. But in addition to that, she also talked about LinkedIn, optimizing your LinkedIn to build those connections as well. So I partnered with her. She consulted me. We spruced up my LinkedIn, and I also utilized her to create my capability statements. And those are the two pieces I use to connect with primes and go after them for government contracts.
I love it. So some people don't know what a capability statement is and how to use it. So can you, for the individuals that's in to transportation because she does transportation and she also does construction piece of the hauling piece and she does consulting. And her information is right below. If you want to talk with her, most definitely reach out to her. But how did you utilize those different aspects to really capture their attention?
So the capability statement is pretty much a snapshot of what your business does. It kind of speaks for itself. So when I went to a transportation conference here in North Carolina, I saw Michelle there, and I didn't even know she was going to be there, first of all, but she came. But I used that to engage my primes. It's like, hey, this is my company. This is what I do. These are the certifications I have. It's like, what else do you want from me? Everything is on this document, so you can't tell me no, or you can't tell me, oh, you don't have something. It's like, I have everything you need. Just here, take it, and we can schedule some time to talk from there.
I love it. And I would have to say that event that we were at, the part that tickled me was that individuals who didn't look like us, when they found out that I did her and her husband's capability statement, they were like, what? You did it? Like, that was a great capability statement. Like, oh my gosh. Like they, it was very professional.
Mhm.
They had you guys had everything that you needed, but it was almost like they were shocked. And I have to say that if you are a person of color, okay, that they are looking for you. And when you come across very professional, because you are very intentional, when you come across very professional, they're looking for you so they can go ahead, be it as a prime for those contracts. Also, let's see, somebody asked me, what's the difference between a regular resume and the resume for the government contracts? Can you break down what a capability statement is? All right, so a capability statement. So Dannesia and her husband, they are in the logistics space. All right, I am not in the logistics space, but her and I, we can come together on a contract, okay, for an RFP. So if they want to talk about anything about capability statements, if Dannesia say, within that contract, Michelle, you come in as a consultant, she can combine my experience of my business with her business experience to have a great capability statement. So it's a combination, like she said, it's a snapshot. So more people who are connected with you that's going to work on that contract, you can pull in their experience, okay? And you give that that marketing tool is a great marketing tool to that prime, then they know that you have the capacity and the capability to do the job that you are bidding on, okay? And then, of course, with the leadership resume, Dannesia had a great resume. Again, it has to show that you have leadership. It can't be a doer resume. Like, oh yeah, I just do this, I do that, I do that. They want to hear strategy. They want to hear next steps. They want to hear budget. They want to hear all of these things because when they come to a Dannesia and to her husband, it's like they know that they're coming to a leader. Okay. And if you hear her, it's a leader. So one of the things, so we already talked about the 534. She had another one that popped up that was how much?
So I told you about two of them. So I had another one that was $225,000, and that's about a 2-month contract, and it has the ability to be a 2-year contract. And of course, we will negotiate more money if they decide to use us for 2 years.
That's good. That's good. And I know she was working on another one during her birthday weekend. But again, so because you had the relationship, tell us about the networking. Like, how important is that networking when those emails come out to say, okay, the primes are going to be here for this particular project?
So the thing about LinkedIn, I like to talk about that a little bit, is that you can see who the head people are of this company. So I studied who these contractors or primes that I wanted to do business with. I studied who they are, what their job titles are. So when I go to the networking events, it's a warm, introduction because I know who they are and I know what their job title is. And being able to talk to them the same lingo they use, that gave me an advantage. And when I'm telling them, hey, I have dump trucks and I know you're doing a big project on this highway, what can my company do to assist you?
I love it. And so again, she studied. Remember, if you guys are here at the beginning, she said for 4 years, it was like, oh man, I'm not getting anything. But then all of a sudden, it was like, okay, I have the right tools. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So since I have the right tools, then now I have the confidence. So that helps to build up your confidence. But I know that you're a thinker and you were watching stuff. You were like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I need to do. And I hear that consistently. It's like once you're in, then they're going to keep reaching out to you.
Yes.
And so that was one of the things that Dannesia had told me was that when we had interviewed last week, so you guys see like it's part 2, we did a part 1, that she was like, I got another call. I got another, and she gonna keep telling me that every time. Look, it won't. I don't care if it's $50,000, and you notice the short amount of time it is, that's happening. I can't wait until she said I got the $20 million contract and it's for
Right.
2 years. I'm like, somebody owe me dinner.
Yes.
So when you talk about LinkedIn, now do you like look up? And if we're looking at the transportation part of things, do you look? Oh no, we'll go with the construction. Do you look up different construction companies that's within your area? Are you looking at the different jobs that they've done? Like, how do you pretty much prospect that?
Yes. So LinkedIn, I do. I go look and see who like the estimator is, the project manager, the civil construction engineer. I go deep into that particular company. But another thing about being certified is I also get additional emails from the Department of Transportation. And so they'll give me a company name and I would then go to LinkedIn and do additional research on that company or who are the heavy hitters.
That's good. So that is so helpful when it comes to, again, the LinkedIn. Guys, I don't want you to sleep on LinkedIn because if somebody is looking at a Dannesia and her capability statement, which is fabulous because Michelle did it, okay, and then it's 2 fabulous Dannesias that's right there, they will go to your LinkedIn. And if your LinkedIn is non-responded, you're not talking about the industry and how it's growing, especially technology. Anything in any industry, there's some form of technology. That's easy. You can find different write-ups about your industry, but you have to look like an industry expert. And I would have to say one of the things, as I followed Dannesia, one of the things that I started seeing her put out there was her trucks, her dump trucks, and they're looking all good. They're looking all shiny and everything. And she said it was one of them. You like, today is a beautiful day to be working in North Carolina, and those dump trucks are working. Again, it's catching their attention. Okay, so yes. So we do, and somebody asked a question, do you host LinkedIn courses? Yes, I do host LinkedIn courses, workshops, along with a few that I have on Teachable. And so another person asked, how would this work for consultation on daycares? That is set for another conversation since we're talking about construction and transportation, but I'll most definitely put that in. I will put that in the link a little later on. So, Dannesia, do you believe, and I have to ask this because, again, she's married and her husband is in this business together, but she is at least 51% of the company. Were you and him strategic about that because you knew the advantages of it? How did y'all agree upon that? Because I know we briefly talked about that. Sometimes I get questions from the husbands that say, I don't want my wife 51%. She might take the business. She can't take the business. Talk to the business lawyer. So what was your strategy for that?
That is correct. So I do own 51% of the company, and we were very strategic about that. we did our research and we learned that if I own majority of the company, it gives us an advantage, especially when it comes to certifications in different prime contract, doing business with different prime contractors. And I went for the men. I wouldn't look at it like your wife is going to take everything from you. We also have other things in place, such as an operating agreement. It tells what my responsibilities are, what are his responsibilities. We even have bylaws. So if something doesn't go right, we can go back to the bylaws. And when it comes, God forbid, anything happens, I know what I'm supposed to take and he knows what he is supposed to take. So you got to have your legal documents in place. And as long as you have everything structured right, have your documents in place, you shouldn't worry about anyone taking anything from you.
I love it. And again, you guys are a partnership. I tried to get him up on stage to interview. He was like, he was like, she speaks. Let her speak. I'm in the background.
Yeah.
That was so funny. He was like, no.
I handle all the back office stuff. How we make sure the bills get paid. How do we make sure we stay with our renewals, with certifications? You got to keep up with your renewals. So all that type of stuff, the accounting, who's going to keep up with all of that while he's working night and day? So you can't do that by yourself.
That's good. No, I love that. I love that. I mean, you guys are just absolutely wonderful. Oh, someone asked a very good question.
Can you see these? Okay, just making sure you can see these too. I'm like,
it's like, how do you separate business and marriage, home and life? That's a very good. Okay, how do you separate?
A very good question. Sometimes it do get difficult, but he has his divisions that he worked with, and I have mine. Often in the evening, we may talk about things. We also schedule dinners, so business meetings, typically on Fridays or Saturdays. We go out, talk about what happened, how can we improve, but we do have a cutoff time. Yes. So we, after 6 o'clock, we're not talking about those trucks. We're not talking about anything that happened in the office because we need our, married time. We have kids too. We have 3 kids, 1 in college. So we got to set aside time for them. So we do have a cutoff time when it comes to business and marriage.
That's good. And this is another good question. What challenges do you have after landing the contract?
After landing the contract, I would say making sure no one does, I forget the correct terminology for it, but a change order is what it's called. The contractors may want to do a change order. They may not want to pay you, kind of like with the pandemic and everything and the diesel prices. So our rates may be, let's just say hypothetically, $25, but we're like, wait, diesel is just crazy. So we need $50 an hour. So trying to renegotiate those contracts, and then the prime coming back to us saying, hey, you guys were late on the project or we're behind on the project, we're going to have to cut your money, things like that. But we do have a business lawyer. So I always make sure I consult with my attorney before I move forward with anything.
Cool. So some of these are more detailed questions that I am going to let Dannesia answer when you reach out to her. So right below, if you can let us know exactly how to reach out to you, that would be great.
Absolutely. So you can always contact me, and my email address is info, I-N-F-O, at pullenlogistics.com. I do have consultations. I also do group consultations. So that's www.pullenlogistics.com/consultations.
No, that's wonderful. So I want you guys to be on the lookout for her, because we're going to bring her back when she tells us about that $1 million contract. Yes. Not the one that's extended for the next 2 years. That one's good. Okay, don't get me wrong. But it's like all at once that, it's like all at once that one particular contract, which I'm excited. Like I told one of my clients, I saw one. It was a construction one. I'm praying this for you, girl. It was $250 million.
I need some.
I need you to get that one. I need you to get that one. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. Direct messaging, please reach out to me via Facebook or LinkedIn, or check me out at michellelenore.com. Again, please reach out if you are in construction or in transportation or in some form of logistics and you really want to pick Dannesia's brain Again, guys, she's about to be the $1 million woman. So don't look at the consultation like, it doesn't take that, but it did. Because remember, it took her 4 years, but now her contracts are building up to be millions. Okay. So don't you want to cut that 4 years? Okay. We want to be able to cut that 4 years. And it does. It takes a resume. It takes a leadership resume. It takes capability statement. It takes a great LinkedIn profile, and it takes a certification. She is certified. Okay. So last question. Can you land a $500,000 contract in 1 year with certifications? Yes. Oh, you must have came in late.
I know. Where you been?
It was $534,000, y'all, for just 2 months.
Yes. That was.
And she got another one. For how much?
That's $225,000.
Okay. For another 2 months. These are 2 separate contracts. So yes, you can make this type of money with the certifications. Absolutely. They are waiting for you guys. And in any industry, now some industries is, it's bigger than others, like IT and transportation and consulting, but you can make this type of money. But it's time to go ahead and put your business in order. So yeah, most definitely. Get certified, get ready, you got to get known. You got to get known. So Dannesia, thank you so much for popping in, telling the folks about the start of your $1 million makings.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You all have a great evening.